Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the Texas Senate begins its impeachment trial against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton.
The tabernacle at a Catholic church in El Paso reported stolen.
And the city of Victoria holding a meeting this evening on the budget and tax rate for the 2024 fiscal year.
Another scorcher of a day, getting up to 101, but there's reason to believe that we won't be in the hundreds next week. Wouldn't that be exciting? We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And the game of the week is featuring two top 3 ranked teams in the state, in different divisions that is, that and more in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Early Sunday morning, someone stole the tabernacle at St. Robert's Catholic Church in El Campo. Police released video images of a man they want to talk with about the theft. The church had a prayer service at 5:30 this afternoon. Anyone with information can call 979-543-8477.
Authorities released the name of the man found dead in a restroom near the Victoria Youth Sports Complex off North Bend Wilson Street. He's identified as 41-year-old Luke Manning. Someone cleaning the restroom found Manning around 9 a.m. Sunday morning. Authorities believe Manning was homeless and an autopsy is underway.
Victoria City Council meeting right now with a full agenda.
25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick is live and has more.
Last week, City Manager Jesus Garza proposed a new budget for the 2024 fiscal year. Today, the City Council discussed the approval and the adoption of the decision with the public. The budget will include projects like street repairs, a new public safety headquarters. Also, Garza will share an update, or did share an update, on the public safety HQ's design. Once the new fiscal year begins on October 1st, Victoria citizens will see a property tax rate of 0.4898 cents per $100 property valuation, a decrease of 0.0684 cents, or a 13% decrease from last year's tax rate. The meeting started here at 5, and you can find the council here next week for the next meeting at the council chambers at 107 West 1 Lynn Street. The City of Victoria invited locals to come out and share their opinions about the budget and other things on the agenda, and we'll reach out to City Manager Jesus Garza for updates on the budget. Reporting live in Victoria, I'm Adarius McCormick, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Thank you, Darius. Authorities say speed and wet roads may be the causes for an SUV crashing into a restaurant in Rosenberg Monday. KTRK reports 23 people were hurt in the crash, 20 people sent to 3 different hospitals. Rosenberg police say the victims of the crash can file claims to the driver's insurance. The 30-year-old driver was not taken into custody, but if he ends up facing criminal charges, those would be filed with the Fort Bend County District Attorney's Office. ERCOT has issued a weather watch from Wednesday through Friday due to forecasted higher temperatures, higher electrical demand, and the potential for lower reserves. ERCOT says grid conditions are expected to be normal during the weather watch and that there is currently enough capacity to meet forecasted demand. ERCOT set a new September peak demand record on Labor Day. This summer, ERCOT set 10 new all-time peak demand records.
And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Well, thank you, Karina. It has been a very long summer. With a little luck, we may be starting to see something change, all right? Unfortunately, the Atlantic is still quite busy. As a matter of fact, this is going to become Major Hurricane Lee. Just became a tropical storm today. However, it's going to be threatening the East Coast, and a big question mark as to which state it's going to hit. Good news is not coming to Texas. We'll be talking more about that and your weekend forecast coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Attorney Brian Cromines announced today he will seek the Republican nomination for district attorney in the 24th Judicial District. Cromines, based in Cuero, said in a statement he has immediate concerns about the use of the district attorney's narcotics fund to pay for a lawsuit against DeWitt County. The 24th Judicial District covers DeWitt, Goliad, and Refugio counties.
The Texas State Senate began its impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton this morning in Austin. The Republican-led state House charged Paxton with 20 articles of impeachment. He is accused of bribery and unfitness for office, among other charges. Some of the charges are connected to this alleged attempt to protect a wealthy donor from an FBI investigation and block whistleblower complaints by his staff. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick presides over the trial, which will require at least 21 or 31 senators to support Paxton's removal.
In updates, Paxton pleaded not guilty to all charges. He was not present as the trial started. State Senator District 18 Lois Kolkhorst was one of 6 GOP senators who voted to dismiss all of the articles of impeachment. Paxton's lawyers have said he will not testify and he expects an acquittal. The trial expected to last about 3 weeks.
Here's your Vera poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, are you closely following the Ken Paxton impeachment trial? Yes or no? According to these results, 19% say yes and 81% stand at no. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update, of course, on 25 News Now at 10. Now to one of the highest profile sentencings yet related to the deadly Capitol insurrection. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. ordering former Proud Boys leader Eric Taro to serve time in prison.
He was convicted this year on several felony charges in connection to the January 6th riot, including seditious conspiracy and assault of a law enforcement officer.
Enrique Tarrio, the former national chairman of the far-right extremist group the Proud Boys, to be sentenced. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. set to decide how many years Tarrio will spend behind bars. The Department of Justice requested Tarrio serve 33 years in prison, describing him as the ringleader who plotted to use violence to overthrow the government following Donald Trump's presidential election loss. It's their longest sentence request yet. Though Tarrio was not at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 because of an earlier arrest, prosecutors say he influenced Proud Boys followers to violently storm the Capitol. Tarrio's sentencing follows those of 3 other former Proud Boys members last week, who were also convicted of seditious conspiracy. Joseph Biggs to 17 years in prison, Ethan Nordine to 18 years, Zachary Reel sentenced to 15 years, and Dominic Pizzola, who was seen using a stolen police riot shield to smash a window at the Capitol, sentenced to 10 years.
The fact that they have won convictions on seditious conspiracy, that they're getting pretty high sentences, I think sends a huge signal about the importance of vindicating the harm that was caused on January 6th.
Attorney General Merrick Garland has called the Justice Department's January 6 probe the most wide-ranging in the agency's history. That investigation also resulting in more than 1,000 arrests and nearly 400 incarcerations. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
A judge in Fulton County, Georgia will hold a hearing Wednesday to address scheduling issues surrounding the election interference case. Prosecutors charged 19 people, including former President Donald Trump, with conspiring to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. All have pleaded not guilty. At least 2 people charged, Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell, are demanding a speedy trial and want their cases broken away from the others.
Attorneys for Alec Murdaugh announced today they have filed a motion requesting a new trial, saying evidence of inappropriate communications between members of the jury and the clerk of court has come to light. The attorney claims the clerk pressured the jury to reach a quick verdict by advising them not to believe Murdaugh's testimony. The jury took less than 3 hours to deliberate before finding Murdaugh guilty of the 2021 killings of his wife and son.
When jurors receive private communications outside the confines of a public courtroom, the Sixth Amendment is violated and numerous other constitutional rights are violated.
2 sources familiar with the motion say at least 2 members of the jury have already hired lawyers.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so when you're on YouTube, you can get us Crossroads today. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. The Burning Man Festival in Nevada leaves one person dead as officials continue to safely escort festival goers out of the desert.
Also ahead, North Korea may be supplying weapons to Russia in the war against Ukraine.
The Lahaina fire on Maui finally 100% contained. That's according to an update posted Monday. The fire that started on August 8th burned 2,200 acres. Meanwhile, the Olinda fire 90% contained at just over 1,000 acres, and the Kula fire 95% contained at 200 acres. Authorities say 41 people still reported missing after the fires. But a list compiled by the FBI and the Red Cross has the names of 385 people still missing.
In a news presser, the U.S. government says North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un could travel to Russia soon to meet President Vladimir Putin of Russia for discussions on a potential deal to supply Russia with weapons for its war on Ukraine. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters at a White House briefing today that discussions between North Korea and Russia are, quote, actively advancing, unquote.
Today, the thousands stuck in the Nevada desert at the Burning Man Festival finally making their way out after heavy rains had them literally stuck in the mud.
We have also learned that a 32-year-old died at the event. The local sheriff's department says the conditions were so difficult, it was difficult to access the area.
The exodus for the thousands of people stranded in the northern Nevada desert now underway after the Burning Man Festival culminated Monday night with this large wooden statue being set on fire. The annual pilgrimage centered on arts and music, trapping more than 60,000 event goers after historic rainfall flooded the venue, turning the dry desert into a muddy muck, making roads impassable, cars and RVs getting stuck, people struggling just to walk around, organizers calling for people to ration the food and supplies they had. Following the chaos over the weekend, officials reporting a death. The local sheriff's office says 32-year-old Leon Reese died at the festival after he was found unresponsive on the ground. Due to the extreme weather, the sheriff's office says it was difficult to access the area, and Reese's cause of death remains under investigation. By Labor Day, long lines of cars and RVs were seen lined up, some waiting more than 6 hours to get out.
They said it was the most treacherous thing they'd ever experienced. People just crying, begging, stuck in the mud, no way to get any help.
The festival known for its self-reliant spirit, putting it to the test.
I'm tired. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, but it was a lot of fun. It was totally worth it. Even with the rain, it was an amazing experience.
Organizers say their plan is for everyone to safely leave Burning Man today. Dry and sunny conditions in Nevada are helping as the thousands make their way out of the desert. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
More than 4 million people have enrolled in President Biden's new SAVE plan. The repayment plan promises to lower monthly bills as student loan payments are set to resume in October. It's available to most people with federal student loans and can provide significant relief to borrowers struggling to pay off their debt. Biden proposed canceling up to $20,000 in student loan debt for low and middle income borrowers before payments restarted, but the program was struck down by the Supreme Court in late June.
A new study shows heat can increase bad behavior.
Yeah, I believe it.
2,000 college students in California and Kentucky were assigned to play video games in either a hot room or a temperate one. Researchers found that some of the students in the hot room in Kenya became consistently more aggressive in their gameplay than those who were in the moderate room. There are also other studies that confirm violent crime spike when it's hot outside. But Mac, you've always been nice to us during the heat wave.
Thank you. But you know, they didn't have to spend all that time. I could have told them that one. Anyway, folks, not many clouds left, even though we had a few little sprinkles around the area this morning. Yep, it was another hot one, 96 right about now. We did manage to get up to 101, I believe, was the high temperature. Not a record, but it actually adds to our record. Yes, it does. It puts us now at 54 days, number 2, of the amount of 100-degree days this summer. So good thing is it's September and fall should be coming soon. We'll also take a look at the tropics coming up in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Another warm day across the crossroads. I'm optimistic, though, that now that we're in September, things will be changing. I got a few sprinkles on my windshield. Now, it was either rain, because I saw the cloud, or the guy in front of me using his wipers, I guess. Otherwise, most of the activity actually occurred in Houston, where their temperature went down into the 80s because of the clouds and the shower activity that you see right about there. Fairly quiet, not a lot happening, still hot, very humid because the humidity has been rising, but there's some sort of change coming in real soon. As of today, we have now had 54 days of 100 or plus. That puts us in a number 2 position, but you can see I believe we're going to beat that. Back in 2011, we were 101 for us, 100 in Port Lavaca, 104 in the Gonzales area. And high temperatures again tomorrow will continue to be very warm. In fact, remember, it's the heat and the humidity, they sort of, you know, it could be 100 degrees, but the humidity is so high that it's ridiculous. Well, that is why ERCOT is really worrying about people overusing electricity, because the humidity is increasing, and that's what's going to make it hard for everybody to try and stay cool. So whatever you can do to make it through the summer, lower the amount of utilities in the middle part of the day. So we do have a heat advisory already up for tomorrow. That's for your Wednesday, and pretty much the entire northern part of the state. Now, they don't have them out here because the humidity is so low. It's very dry, but of course along the coastal areas it's rather humid. Now, we are about to approach the peak of the hurricane season, which will be on September 10th. Today, September the 4th. We've already been through all of these names. In fact, today, Lee was born. Lee was born out in the mid-Atlantic, and ordinarily I'd say, you know, oh, let's not worry about it. But, you know, here's the problem. Lee is already, and he was born today, already born, expected to become a major hurricane just to the north of Puerto Rico and very close to the Bahamas. So, if he makes the turn, everybody's going to be spared. If he doesn't make the turn, then we've got a big problem on the East Coast, and everybody needs to get ready for that. Let me show you what we're talking about. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Sunday, Lee will be here, and you can see it'll be a very large storm. If it catches North Carolina, that's a problem. If it catches New England, which I think is most likely, it's really going to be a problem. If it makes that right turn early, well, then we'll all be spared. But let me put it to you this way. Anybody from Florida to Boston needs to be paying attention to what Lee's going to do. We are in the clear, is not coming into the Gulf of Mexico, so that's good news. If you happen to have time to go a little fishing tomorrow morning, just remember that sunrise is at 7:08 a.m. and sundown at 7:42. You will notice, though, you probably noticed that the sun is a little lower on the horizon. Temperature, or the night time's coming in a little earlier. So it's the change in the seasons that we've been looking for. 96 tomorrow in Port Lavaca, getting up to about 100 in the inland areas, especially in Cuero. You can see the low of only 79. So we'll stay on the hot side for 2 or 3 more days. And then Sunday, we start seeing a chance of a shower or two. And then hopefully the temperatures will get below 100 as high temperatures. That is your 7-day forecast. Thanks for joining us. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thanks, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. The Cuero Gobblers and Yoakum Bulldogs meet again. This time they're both ranked in the top 10. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the game of the week for the third week of the CFL season is between the Edna Cowboys and the Refugio Bobcats. The Cowboys are undefeated with a 2-0 record and coming off a huge win over the then number 8 ranked Bay City Blackcats. Edna is a bigger school and will be on the road for the first time this season against Refugio. It will be a packed and hostile crowd at Jack Sportsman Bobcat Stadium Friday night. The Cowboys have scored 28 points in each of its 2 games, but have allowed 21 points per game as well. Meanwhile, the Bobcats bounced back last week against the London Pirates after losing week 1 to the Hitchcock Bulldogs. Refugio had a dominant performance, winning by 45 points. The Bobcats have not lost 2 games in 3 weeks in over 5 years. The Bobcats beat up on the Cowboys last season 40-22. This will be the biggest test for both teams, with each being ranked in the top 3 and each making it to at least the state semifinals last year. One team will lose and one will win. Either way, this will be a great test for both squads, with district right around the corner. Another huge game that probably would have been the game of the week if it was any other day except for the Edna and Refugio game. It's between number 4 ranked Cuero Gobblers and the now number ranked 10 Yoakum Bulldogs. Cuero is going all out this week as the Gobblers prepare to take on Yoakum. The Gobblers are having a ceremony for the classes of 1973 through 75 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Gobblers winning its first state title and the 44-game win streak to go along with it. There will be a video during the game with games and inflatables as well, along with fireworks and a dance to follow after the game. Yoakum, meanwhile, on the other hand, is looking to spoil the party. They are freshly ranked in the top 10 in Class 3A Division I after beating Cameron Yeoman 41-20 in the week 1, beating Industrial 36-14. The offense has done a 180 turn from last season. Yoakum only had scored over 35 points twice last year. The Bulldogs have already done it twice in the first 2 games of the year. Yoakum is also looking to get the bad taste out of its mouth from getting dominated last year 75-6 against Cuero. The two are meeting for the 114th time on Friday in Cuero Gobbler Stadium. The number 9 ranked Clemson Tigers went into Durham, North Carolina to take on the Duke Devils, and this one was not what everyone expected. Crimson trailed most of the first half, but would take the lead with a nice bubble route to go up 7-6. After halftime, still only 7-6 was the score, but Duke decided to run a quarterback draw stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but the quarterback keeps his legs churning, and he goes all the way for the score. 44 yards to put Duke back in the lead. The biggest play of the night was when Clemson was on the 1-yard line in the 4th quarter, but the running back coughs up the ball and the Duke defender runs all the way down the sideline to eventually the 27-yard line. Got tackled by the former Westlake quarterback from Austin, that is. Duke ran the score up and would go on to win 28-7 to get the upset. The fans would storm the field and celebrated their big win. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're back in a moment. Water taxis in Chicago return for the first time since the pandemic.
Chicago's water taxis are back. Boats will run Tuesday through Thursday during the morning and evening rush hours, every 15 minutes for Chicago commuters. Organizers say Chicago's work from home trends and the recovering labor market led to service delays this year. The water taxis will operate in Chicago until Thanksgiving. You see, after Thanksgiving, Lake Michigan becomes ice.
Ice, Michigan.
And unless the water taxis have an icebreaker with them, then they're really of no use.
I was in the middle of Lake Michigan one year looking at the sky and I'm going, it's beautiful here. Yeah, it's beautiful. 6 months from now, this will be frozen. So that is the big difference.
Major difference.
Major
But
difference.
our freezes won't be happening for another 6 months. And
We're lucky if we can get an ice cube around here, you know. Folks, we'll continue with 100-degree weather for at least 2 or 3 more days, but I am optimistic that the high pressure that's been bothering us all summer long is finally pushing out of the area, and that will knock the temperature down only into the 90s next week.
All right.
exciting.
Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.